Afternoon. Mr. Wilson, I'm talking. Afternoon. I wanted to welcome everyone today. A particular welcome to Shadrach and Margaret, who landed in the United States for the first time in their lives a few hours ago. So, welcome. You, in a few very short minutes, will know more about parks in Newcastle County than most Delawareans do. So today we're here to talk about something very exciting, and that is our park system here across Newcastle County. I joke with my staff when people ask what I've learned so far. Today is my 6 months and 16-day anniversary. And I learned very quickly that when people stop me on the street and I say, what do you want more out of Newcastle County? They often say more open space, more parks. And I say, where do you want a park? Where should the next park go? And they say, in my neighborhood. We stepped into a situation where in the past fiscal year, the fiscal year that just ended, we were looking at a $5 million general fund deficit. In this fiscal year, when we first took office, we were looking at a $13 million general fund deficit, and in future years, $21 million and $25 million. So a huge deficit. So in that context, we don't have a whole lot of money to go out and be buying parkland. We just don't have the money. But what we do have the money to do is to be fiscally responsible, to find strategic opportunities to continue to invest in our communities, and that's what today is about. I see Councilman Smiley, and if anybody knows anything about fiscal responsibility, they know Councilman Smiley's middle name is fiscal responsibility. You can't spend the money if you don't have it, and if I ever forget that, or anyone on my staff forgets it, Councilman Smiley will remind you. A long-time advocate, not just for managing our books and managing taxpayer money diligently and responsibly, but also a huge advocate for parks across the county. So give Councilman Smiley a round of applause. Also here is Councilwoman Diller. Councilwoman Diller is also a huge advocate of parkland across the county, along with financial responsibility. She often says to me, really county government's about two things, because a lot of citizens don't understand that. It's about two things. It's about public safety and it's about dirt. It's about public safety and about dirt. So I guess today we're in the dirt category. And to some extent about leaving dirt the way it is, right? Leaving dirt the way it is, and as Professor Ed O'Donnell, the chairman, as I'm sure to announce, of our Parks Task Force will tell us, leaving it the way it is so you can stand on it when you want to go out and fish. Right? You can stand on it when you want to go out and fish. But today we're announcing a strategy to address that question of where do we want our parks and our open spaces of the future to be. I'm going to talk about 4 distinct areas where today we're announcing that we're either furthering to develop park opportunities, or we're going to look at developing park opportunities. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about a task force I'm forming that will help to answer some of the key questions that I have and the county has in moving a park strategy forward. First area I'm going to talk about is the Red Lion area. We are going to be master planning a district park, thanks to the good work of Jonathan Husband, Tracy Searles, and a number of people in our Special Services Department. Over the course of years and years, really decades, we have acquired a number of parcels right down around Red Lion. This red area on the bottom of the map. It was identified, people often say, governments, you form a task force, you identify an area, and then you're out of office. The next person comes in, they run a task force, they identify this, nothing ever gets done. This is an area that was identified in the 1990s as an area of potential growth for our park system. In 1997, when I was 6, no, I'm joking, I wasn't 6. In 1997, the county acquired 44 acres from a woman named Grace Prest near the headwaters of Red Lion Creek. It's roughly at the intersection of Route 71, Red Lion Road, and Route 72, Wrangell Hill Road. Grace, for those that don't know, Grace Prest was an active civic leader and environmentalist who sold the property to the county at a steeply discounted rate. And for that reason, we will be naming this park after Grace Prest. Subsequently, the county has acquired an additional 4 parcels adjacent to the Prest property. It creates a 78-acre district park, similar to popular district parks such as Paper Mill Park, and honestly my favorite park, because I played soccer there when I was a kid, and that's Bonsall Park, up off Silverside Road. The county is finally going to move forward. It's been delayed a few years, but we're now going to move forward to build out the master plan for the park. And we welcome the public's input on what they want this park to be, what amenities they want there, what open space they want there. The second space I'm going to talk about today is Edgemoor. Edgemoor is a community with some of the most serious challenges that we have across the county, challenges of safety, challenges of joblessness, and challenges of basic literacy. It's very important to the community. It's a park where the community came forward and they said, we want this green space to become a park. We will give you the land, give us, the county, the land, and in return, we will develop it. We're going to develop it in their sort of in their vision. They came to us. It's been a collaborative process, and will continue to be a collaborative process. As I said before, our fiscal limitations are serious, but this year we're planning to acquire the land, build out a playground area, a basketball court, and walking trails. We expect, I did a walkthrough of the park 2 weeks ago, and we expect it will really enhance the kids' ability to have a place to play and to play peacefully, and for parents to go there and also enjoy a quiet place right within the neighborhood, in some cases in their own backyards. Third place I wanted to talk about is the Route 4 corridor. When you look across the county and look, if you map, the League of Women Voters, I see Peggy Schultz here, League of Women Voters came to see me yesterday. They brought a great Will Matco map that mapped high-income, moderate-income, and low-income areas across the county, and it looked at parkland in those various areas across the county. And if you just step back and look at it, one thing I think that's fairly clear is the deficiency, the lack of parkland in the areas of our county that need it most. And in particular, certain areas along the Route 4 corridor stick out as places that we need to be looking at acquiring parkland. We have spent, as some people know, some time the last few months trying to do that, and we're going to continue to try to do that. And finally, in terms of park acquisition, I want to talk to you a little bit about southern Newcastle County. This is such a vast and large county with such diversity that it's not big enough to be on one map, so I need to flip it over. So it's hard to see from where you're sitting, but there's a light, there's a darker orangish area that shows approved plans to build largely residential areas, and there's a lighter area that's pending plans, and then Middletown, it shows, is incorporated along with Townsend and Odessa. The dark green spaces are Newcastle County parkland. So you'll notice here, there's really just, there are 2, I think, parks. There's Wiggins Mill Park down south of Middletown, and I believe there's, Parkside Park right up here in the northern area. What we're looking to do is to develop a larger park here south of the canal. It's really important, particularly in a place like Middletown, Odessa, Townsend, that has not yet been that is not as built out, not as developed as other areas of the county, that we plan appropriately. And we sit down together now to talk about the community that we want here and the land use that we want here 20, 30, 40 years down the line. And that's a large part of what today is about, and holding this event here at Appoquinimink Library is about. To do that, to decide where we want to park, how large it will be, what sort of amenities we want or don't want on that park, I'm constituting a task force today that I'm expecting to report back to me on or about October 31st. I've learned very quickly in government not to make strict deadlines, but this is just sort of a lightly strict deadline. And I especially want to thank the task force members who volunteered their time. Pretty much all of them are people who've been committed to parks and used our parks for decades, who've served communities in some places across this state to make sure that we all have the opportunity to use and take advantage of open space. Several of them are here today, and I want to make sure that they get recognized. Ed O'Donnell is going to chair the committee. He brings his expertise as a past land use manager at a county, and he's currently a professor of policy administration right down the road at University of Delaware. Peggy Schultz, who's been a park activist for decades and decades and decades, now most recently really at the League of Women Voters. Dave Carter is here, who I think headed up the Audubon Society and has been really a leader in conservation and open space causes. He's also a neighbor here in, what's that called, Townsend? Oh, Townsend? Unincorporated Townsend. Unincorporated Townsend. Has an amazing, as an aside.
We ignore municipal boundaries down here.
Yeah, no comment. No comment. If you're not already, I don't know how open Mr. Carter is to Facebook friendship, but he has a drone, and regardless of what you think of drones and the increasing usage of drones across this country and if you see Dave Carter's Facebook page, it's like the best advertisement for Newcastle County. He sends his drone up and just takes video footage of the flora and the fauna and the animals right in this area, and it's pretty extraordinary. Patrick Omanya is here, who's a Townsend resident and frequent park users. He brought 2 of his fellow park users with him, and I guess 2 future park users once we let them go outside, take some rest from the trip. Diane Baker is also here, who has decades of experience with the county and community services and parks and recreation. And Aaron Blythe is also here, who's really a leader in active recreation opportunities for kids and field usage in Middletown, really a community activist. So we appreciate you and your time. I'm asking the task force to make recommendations that are consistent with the following principles. The first is fiscal responsibility. The second is a good deal for taxpayers, looking to leverage both private and public funding, making access to parks more equitable across the county, protecting sensitive spaces for generations to come, and also connectivity. It's very important as we look at our park system that we have ways to access the parkland, that they're close to neighborhoods, and making our parks and communities walkable and bikeable. I'm asking 5 specific questions to our task force. The first is, where should a southern Newcastle County park be located? And that's really their first priority. The second is, what amenities should we put on that park? How do we want to develop that park? The third is, what other new parkland should we look to acquire across the county? What areas should we look to invest in terms of open space and parkland? And what should that new parkland be used for? There are certain areas that have plenty of open space, but they don't have much active recreation. I hear that a lot down here, that there's a lot of open spaces, but there aren't enough ball fields, for example. And how should we enhance existing parks? Maybe some of these needs for active recreation, for trails, or even for play equipment, for fishing ponds. Maybe there's certain areas across the county that need more of those, and I'd like the task force to look at that. So we are ever mindful of our fiscal situation, and we're cautious about large capital spending, but we're going to continue investing in our parks. Tracy Searles and Marcus Henry, along with Rich Hall, are here, who head up our special services, which is sort of our parks department, and Marcus Henry heads up our community service department, which is sort of our parks department, and Rich Hall heads up land use, which in some ways is sort of a parks oversight department. So we have a number of continued investments we're making in existing parks. Just to run through them very quickly, we have a handout of them, but we're going to put new play area equipment in 4 parks: Zerba Park in Newcastle, and that honors Joe Zerba, who passed away in Newcastle County, police officer who died in the line of duty several years ago. I don't think there's a greater advocate for Zerba Park than Councilman Smiley. Hahn Park in Scottfield in Newark, Del Park Manor in Stanton, and Pencader Park in Glasgow. We're looking at putting play equipment and all those. We're looking to do it this year. The holdup to that is we haven't been giving bond authority. A few council members, including council members for this area, are holding up our ability to get bonding authority. And so we can't get bonding authority. So we actually are not authorized by law to spend that money yet, but we're working on it. We're looking also at game court improvements in Del Park Manor and Stanton, a full-size basketball court, pavilion improvements at Banning Park, tri-park rehab, which is basically 3 parks we put together over recent years in Newcastle. We're building out pass and game courts, or rather we completed pass and game courts, and we're looking to install new pavilions, again, contingent on getting our bonding authority. We have additional investments in Mill Creek, Middle Run Valley, and Rockwood. In Rockwood, as well as Glasgow. Rockwood in particular, the recent passage of revising our responsible contractor legislation is making it a lot easier for us to go out and make improvements to the conservatory there. We're repairing and rebuilding it, which has been a project in the pipeline, I think, for close to 10 years, real long time. And we're also working on the historic mansion there, as well as the maintenance base at Glasgow Park. So in closing, I just wanted to thank everyone for coming today. Thank the task force members for their willingness to serve our community. And thank, of course, all of you for coming today. Without further ado, I'm going to pass it on to Councilwoman Diller to say a few words.
It will be a few words. I'm for Parks. Thanks to the people on the task force for being willing to serve, and let's get some, despite that, and taxpayer responsible amounts.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Councilwoman Diller. I don't know if you have anything. Councilman Smiley, don't spend too much money, right? I don't know if there are any questions. Good. Thank you very much. Sasa nataka kufanya hiyo kitu tena kwa Kiswahili. Sawa. I'm going to do the same press conference in Kiswahili if you'll excuse me.
I think you did.
Yeah. Don't tell them what I just said about Councilman Smiley.